Okay, so in our next sort of instalment of our Q&A, we've managed to get hold of Tom Rowlands, winger, number 10, bow-footed as well, Tom. So thank you very much for agreeing to do it. Appreciate it.
No worries, mate.
I suppose first, just wanted to sort of chat about your career and your highlights, really, with the teams that you've been at. Where did you start, like, your adult football that we would know you for?
Mainly, first club I played for in Wales was Airbus. So I was at Airbus for probably 3 years, give or take, with a spell at Caffin Druids in between. So that was the main spell. And obviously I went to Rhyl, which is where obviously you know me from. Another spell there later on. But there's obviously the injuries in between. Probably curtailed it slightly.
What managers did you play for when you were at Rhyl then? Was there quite a few?
No. There was only Strongy, Niall, and obviously Connor for quite a short amount of time.
Which one of them three do you think got the most out of you? I think I know where this is
going. Probably it's an easy answer. That probably isn't it. It's Strongy. Yeah. I think he had a good way with the lads, didn't he? And you know, the thing with Strongy is he'd set targets for you before the games. He's good man manager. But yeah, I think when the spell was Strongy, scored the most goals, scored in Wales and stuff like that, assists. He told me to play the way I wanted. Just always wanted to play football.
A little bit of freedom to play, are you? Yeah. I suppose that's a nature of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll be the first person to say, you know, if the team I'm playing for is not playing football, I'm not the most effective player, shall we say.
Oh, good. And then, so once you left Welsh football, you went to play in Runcorn with another ex-player?
There was a good few. There was Forbes, Macca, Paul McManus, DJ. And I had 2 spells at Runcorn. Macca's actually the manager now, as most people probably know. DJ's his assistant. So it's I enjoyed those spells as well. Again, side play football. That's the main thing I look for, to be honest with. Yeah. If the team you play for plays football, I'll enjoy it. So.
Certainly. What are your best memories playing for Rhyl? I'll tell you my favourite memory, actually. I think you came off the bench against Buckley away, and I think you'd only got a few minutes, and I'm sure you scored the winner with your left foot into the bottom right hand corner.
Yeah. I was do you know what? I haven't thought about that for a long time, but as soon as you said Buckley near the end, because that was a night game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We won 3-2. There's so many good memories. There's so obviously, you know, winning the league in 2013 was a nice memory. But probably say if I had to say one memory that stood out for me, I probably would say when we won the title. So when we played Caffin Druids at home, and we finally got to sort of, you know, relax.
You mentioned to me before about that group of players. You had the group that you had, you know, in that season when you come up was a really sort of like a close-knit group, wasn't it?
That was I think we said before we recorded that group just had a special sort of. Yeah. Sometimes with football, it's all good having the ability, and you can bring in loads of individual players. And this is no slight on any individual players, but because of the continuity and the fact all the players were so close, and you know we'd do anything more or less for each other, and that made a huge difference. And I think in football it's underrated. I think if you've got a team that's really close knit, it can make a massive difference compared to individual skill.
Do you know that is one thing? So obviously I've done quite a few of these. That's one thing that comes through. Everyone I speak to seems to think that once you've got that camaraderie, then you're all working for one another. It seems to ability seems to go out of the window. Not out the window, but it seems to sort of play a really, really important sort of factor in whether you achieve what you want to achieve.
I think it did with that team. Like, if you look, I think I mentioned to you before, spend a lot of time still with players from that team. I've got see Forbes all the time, see Matty all the time, speak to DJ regularly.
Have you got any regrets from your football career? Potentially any opportunities that you've missed?
I tend not to think about things like that, if I'm honest. I think sometimes you can. Don't get me wrong, there will be regrets in there, and I think one thing I have a tendency to do is make impulsive decisions, which I probably shouldn't have done in the past. I suppose I'd say that, if anything, but because if I look back, the achievements are better than the regrets, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I wouldn't say there's any massive regrets. Not really.
Brilliant. Did you have? Where did you start as a young player? We've not discussed this already, but did you do any academy football when you were younger, or no?
I didn't. The mad thing was with me when I was younger, I was ill a lot, so I didn't even play for my school team until year 10. Without going into it, I was constantly ill, so I was always off school and stuff like that. And then eventually it got sort of end of year 9, things settled down, and then year 10, 11, played for the school team, left school, played in the West Cheshire League, and then it sort of all took off when I was sort of 19, 20, because I won West Cheshire Player of the Year, which at that time was pretty special in a way. Winning it at 20 with the players that were in that league, and if you ask people who maybe have played for Rhyl, there's a lot of good players who come to Rhyl or down the coast who played in that league. So, for me to win it at 20 was, probably one of my biggest achievements in football, if I'm honest, when I think back. But yeah, no real academy. I think I ended up with an Albion and then Airbus. Yeah.
How does the English leagues differ to the Welsh leagues as a player then? What is the draw to playing in England? In Wales over playing in England.
Differences in style of play. The English league it's very frantic. The English league, like for instance, when I went to Runcorn, the thing that shocked me the most was that we'd be playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Monday. It was non-stop. You play 40 plus games just in the league.
Yeah.
And the standard in those leagues, it's a bit more long ball, it's a bit more direct, kind of like the Welsh Prem is, or used to be back in the day. I think I watch it now, and a lot of teams are trying to play football, but back in the day, the Welsh Prem literally just used to be, it was literally a kick and rush league, wasn't it, in a way? But that's the main difference.
I suppose the pitches meant sometimes that was the nature of the only way you could play.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. I think that's. Yeah, I think the Welsh league as well. It could just be who you know and who asks you to play somewhere. Obviously, it is a lot easier to play one game a week and train twice than give the commitment though towards Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday. That's quite tough.
Yeah. Oh, wicked. Right, so I've got my quick fire questions for you.
Yeah.
What football club are you a fan of?
Liverpool, which at the moment I'm getting a lot of stick for.
It's going well this season, isn't it? Going really well this season. Best player that you've ever played with?
Ooh. From an ability standpoint, I'm gonna say Ryan Williams. I think his ability was literally ridiculous. I think if you just go off individual ability, probably would be him. I think sometimes you can get caught up with individual ability. If I said what players that I enjoy playing with the most, I'd probably say players like, the team in 2013. All those forwards had quite a good, link up play, and we understood what each other would be doing. That was half the battle. I knew most of the time, as soon as I got the ball, if I had time to look up, I knew Mark Evans would be making a run into the area I'm already looking at. Or you knew that Forbes, he was the one who would be offering you the out ball.
Yeah.
Or Steve Lewis had wanted to feet, or you knew if you get to the byline and you just put the ball up, Steve Lewis is going to win the header. And I'd probably say that ability-wise, Ryan Williams, but favourite players I played with, I'd probably say all them three, maybe.
Best player that you've ever played against?
Probably say George Rhyl, probably. People probably think George Ryan's type of defender, he just gives you nothing. Like you're never going to get anything out of him.
Yeah.
He can tackle pretty hard as well. So it's, I think he smashed me a few times. Should have got a pen once, which I didn't get. But I'd probably say George, just because he's just really tough to, even though, normally with a centre half, you'd fancy yourself one-on-one, but he was even good at one-on-ones. So I'd probably say him. And then if it went on to the best player I've played against that wasn't in my position, is probably Cameron Brannigan, who played for Liverpool under 23s.
Yeah.
I remember being moved to right wing by Niall, and I was cursing him, to be honest, because I had to mark Cameron Brannigan there. Couldn't get anywhere near him. He was a decent player, really good.
Your favourite ever player? I'm guessing it'll be a Liverpool one.
I'll make it interesting for you, and I won't choose a Liverpool player. It's just easy, and you're probably going to choose Gerrard. But if I wasn't choosing a Liverpool player, I'd probably say I used to be a big fan of Del Piero when I was younger. I used to watch Football Italia a lot, so I always used to. That was probably my favourite player.
Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic player as well. Best manager that you've played under? Or enjoyed playing under?
So I think it is Strongy. I think it's difficult to go anywhere else with that one. I mentioned before to you that he just had a way with players where he could get the best out of you. And it wasn't just from a football perspective either. You could have chats with him about stuff other than football. And I think he got to the stage where the team was that close-knit, you just have good memories of that team. Even the other staff, like Powley and John Lear, they all knew football really well. And Craig Harrison is a really good manager.
Do you have him at Airbus?
Yeah, I had him at Airbus. I remember once because he hates losing, and it was one time against Carmarthen where we were 2-0 up, and I think we ended up losing 4-2. And I was just coming back from injury at the time, and I went back into the change room because I thought Craig's head's going to go here. I need to get out of there as soon as I can. And grabbed me bag, and then Craig comes in, throws the door open, as you can imagine, and just starts literally going off. It went on for like 45 minutes. I was late to meet my missus and everything. So, but he's a winner though. And when he went to TNS, I knew he'd do well. He's really good manager, really good. And then
favourite ground that you've played at? Is it this one?
I'm not even lying. It probably is. Bellevue's pitch is really good. Like even when the pitch is bad, it's still better than most other pitches. So it's and I think you get the home feel as well, don't you? In the end, because I'm cheating, I'll probably say if I had to choose a different one than Bellevue, I'd probably say somewhere like Newtown. Used to be a nice pitch before they threw a 4G over it, as most teams are doing these days.
Yeah.
Or maybe Portmaddock or something like that.
Yeah. No, I think Steve said Portmaddock as well, actually.
It's a nice ground.
Proudest achievement in football?
Rhyl 2013. Winning the league and not losing a game. I don't care what level it's at. No matter whether you do it on a Sunday league or, and to do it with that team as well. I suppose that's what matters the most, because sometimes you can win something and it sounds silly saying this, but it might not mean as much because maybe you think, but with that team, it was just do it the way we did it. I think the only game we actually lost that whole year was TNS in the cup, which I thought we gave a really good account of ourselves on a Tuesday night when they're full time. We had them on. I think we had a 10-minute spell. We scored, and I think Steve Lewis will hate me for this, but I played him in and he missed the 1-on-1. Then that was at 2-1, and then they've gone straight up the other end and scored. But yeah, that achievement, or maybe if it was individual, I'd probably say winning the Player of the Year in the West Cheshire League at 20, which that's a pretty good one.
Yeah. What would you still like to achieve in football? Tell everyone how old you are, because this might shock them.
Everyone gets shocked at my age, you know, even people in work. So I'm 35 now, which is a bit of a, like, everybody in work gets surprised. You know, I think I had someone the other day who I've just started working with, and she said she was absolutely shocked when I said I was 35, and I think she's 33. So she was like, "Oh, there's no way you're older than me." Oh, bloody hell!
You'll take that, Tom.
I must be looking good for 35. Is all I'm going to say to
that. What would you still like to achieve in football? You said you want to still play, so
yeah, I'm you know, one thing I'd say about football is that I do still want to play. Saturday's something where this year is just obviously, you know, it's a bit mad, isn't it? So, like I said before, I decided just to give it a miss in the end. I was training with a few teams, and I just couldn't really get myself into it because of COVID. I didn't want to go somewhere and think I'm not giving 100%. So, you know, when it gets to the summer, I'll concentrate properly. But I'm in good shape now. You know, I'm still the same weight I've been for the past 10 years. Nothing's really changed.
Yeah.
So I don't see it being a problem getting fit again. Giving it a go.
Favourite meal? We have a random question. Not quite sure why we got it, but we got a favourite.
Probably say anything Italian, so it's probably the easiest answer I can give there. But yeah, lasagna, pizza. I love tapas as well, actually.
Very good. You said you got a good job, so what do you do for a living?
I say I've got a good job. I actually enjoy my job. I work for Lloyds in mortgages, so I've done that now for about 8 years. 8 years, yeah. So,
your favourite holiday destination? Where do you enjoy going most?
I think I've been Ibiza every single year for the past 8-9 years, and every single time with Matty Woodward as well. So I'd probably have to say Ibiza if it was. I go there every year, but if I had to say somewhere else, favourite places I've been, probably maybe Tuscany, or I went to Hawaii for my honeymoon. That was mega. So I'd probably say Hawaii as well.
And then finally, what do you do to relax?
Probably walking my dog, or spending time with my families and my wife and my son. But I love football still as well. I must admit, like, even though I'm getting on, I've still got the bug. I still want to play football a lot. But yeah, if I had to answer, it'd be walking my dog or spending time with family.
Wicked. Right, well, Tom, thank you very much. That's all the questions I've got for you. So thank you very much for agreeing to do it. Appreciate it.
No problem, mate. Take care.